All right, Shalom. All praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. Double honor to the apostle of the great millstone, the rule well, and peace and blessings to the elect. I have another edition of GMS News and Prophecy, and I have an article from the NPR.org. All right. Now, this headline here reads it's dated April 7, 2017, and the headline reads, "After U.S. strikes on Syria, the gloves come off in Moscow." Now, it was breaking news last night and all today that America had launched a series of airstrikes on Syria after it was reported that Syria used chemical warfare against its own people. Okay. Now, of course, it's been opposed as to be a hoax and that the U.S. did it and all of that as being a false flag. But you know, at the same time, it's still a driving force towards the on the road towards World War III. No matter who does what in these upcoming conflicts, whether it's a natural conflict or whether it's something that the elites plan, it's still going to culminate in prophecy. Okay. So I'm going to read the headline again. It says, "After U.S. strikes on Syria, the gloves come off in Moscow." All right. Now, if you know the prophecies and the scriptures, you know that Russia is to be, and its allies are to be against the West, America, and well, I should really say it's really supposed to be against America and the so-called state of Israel. Okay, and this is definitely as I'm getting ready to read, as I get into the scriptures, now this is definitely a hook in the jaw, all right, in the jaws of Russia. Okay. So I'm gonna read down. It says, "The Kremlin's rhetorical ceasefire is officially over. Following Donald Trump's inauguration, the Russian government and its loyal media gave the new American president the soft touch. But following the U.S. missile strike on Syria, the gloves have come off in Moscow as hopes for friendlier relations fizzle." And that's prophecy. Okay, the relationship, the so-called bromance that the media dubbed it between Trump and Putin, once America was Trump was in office for America, that Putin had hope to accomplish an agreement with. That's all that hopeful wishing is fading away now. Okay. So it says, when Rex Tillerson makes his first trip to Russia as Secretary of State next week, he can no longer expect a warm welcome. And that's also a part of prophecy, as America being starting with Esau, but even America being despised, man. Okay. These other Middle Eastern nations, they call America the Great Satan. Okay. So this America, this great Satan is looking very bad on the earth right now, as it should be. Okay, because of all the wickedness that America has done, especially by putting us in slavery. Okay. So let me continue. It says, when Rex Tillerson makes his first trip to Russia as Secretary of State next week, he can no longer expect a warm welcome. Instead, he will be faced with well-rehearsed accusations of American hypocrisy and double standards. Okay. It says, Russian President Vladimir Putin described the U.S. attack as an act of aggression against a sovereign state and a blow to joint efforts in fighting terrorism. All right. It says, and a blow to joint efforts in fighting terrorism. In response to the attack, Russia suspended an agreement with the U.S. to avoid mid-air collisions over Syria and called for an emergency meeting of the United Nations Security Council. So Russia has to say, wait, hold up, wait a minute, man. Okay? They have to stop and take a overall look at the things, that's going on. Because here it is that they're supposed to be in agreement and America is acting out of turn. But that's part of the hooks. That's part of the enmity that Yahweh Shema Shai is to put between these two superpowers. Okay? So-called superpowers, all right? Between of Esau. So it says the U.S. rationale that it had to respond to a Syrian chemical weapons attack on civilians was only a pretext for a long-planned missile strike, the Kremlin said. The real estate billionaire, and it's talking about Trump, has repeated the deplorable experience of his predecessors, because Trump ultimately is just set up by the elites to do the same agenda. All presidents are pushing toward the same agenda, and that's the elite's New World Order, okay? And wickedness, to push upon the chip, to push upon the depopulation of the people, to push upon war. Obama did it. Bush did it. Clinton did it. Okay? Daddy Bush did it. Reagan did it. Roosevelt. They all pushed towards the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, these elite begging families of Esau, gaining a foothold in the earth and controlling it ultimately. But Yahweh Shem Shai, according to his word and his prophecies, wasn't to allow that to happen. Okay? He wasn't about to let that happen. All right? So this is just a confirmation that Trump is just a puppet, man. Okay? So it says the real estate billionaire has repeated the deplorable experience of his predecessors. The Russian government's official newspaper, Rossiyskaya Gazeta, said in a commentary Friday, this isn't the first demonstration of a completely incompetent U.S. approach, similar to a big elephant in a small china shop, to solving the most acute international problems. Syria has been the key to the Kremlin's relations with the United States since 2015, when Russia intervened militarily to back Syrian President Bashar Assad and his country's bloody civil war. Isolated internationally after seizing Crimea and backing separatists in eastern Ukraine in 2014, Putin used military might in Syria to force himself back into the world stage. Like it or not, the Obama administration had to deal with Putin as a Middle East power broker, and that was the means to get us to the point where we're at now. Okay, two like I said, two so-called superpowers being placed on either side to be at the forefront of World War III, or as the scriptures describe it as the third woe. Okay, because the scripture says the third woe cometh quickly in Revelation 11 and 14. All right. So it says military cooperation between the two countries was limited to trying to stay out of each other's way, and joint diplomatic efforts to find a political solution fell apart. That's them hooks, okay, in the jaws of the Medes, okay. It says mainly because the U.S. and Russia were backing Syrian forces on opposite sides of the battlefield, okay. Now it's a lot to this article, and it goes into further detail. But as always, I'm gonna leave a link. I don't want to make it too long. It's not a real long article, but the point has basically been made, man. Now that America has struck Syria, Russia is pushing further away from being diplomatic, okay, having certain discourses with America. Now it's just, it said that the new Secretary of State is not going to have a warm welcome when he is ambassador to Russia now. So, the hooks in the jaws of Gog and Magog and the Medes and all that, that's coming to play now. Ezekiel 38 is coming to pass, even more so clearly. Okay? So I'm going to jump down to the scripture here, and I'm going to read it. Ezekiel 38:1. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against them. And when you if you look up an ancient map of the land of Magog, and then you look at a modern map of where that land is, that would be your modern day Russia. So these lands are once again going to come into conflict. Okay? Or really the prophecy speaking about Russia, okay, from that land. So it says, verse 3, and say, Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. The Most High is going to turn them back from being allied with these nations to being enemies, all right? It says, And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. And that's what's getting ready to happen, man. They're getting ready to bring their armies in there. Now the more recent reports is now it says that the White House is being silent on the serious strikes because they realize they fucked up, and Russia's ready to strike, man. Okay, Russia's ready to retaliate. So I'm gonna continue on the scriptures. It says Persia, which is Iran, which is an ally of Russia, Ethiopia and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, and the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and that's Turkey. And there was supposed to be a coup on Turkey, midsummer 2016. Okay, and I believe that was a failed coup because the Most High is bringing these other nations together to be allied with Gog and Magog, okay, which is Russia. So it says, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all his bands and many people with thee, be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou guard unto them. And Russia is definitely showing itself, like I said, to be a renewed superpower in the earth, just like in the previous Cold War, all right, of the old Soviet Union. Verse 8, and after many days thou shalt be visited in the latter years. Thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste, but it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them, because eventually Israel, so-called Black Hispanics and Native Americans here in America, are going to be the elect. Okay, the 144,000, the elect, are going to be delivered, but there will be a world war to take place to bring about the end of Esau society. All right, but I just want to get into that article, man. That things are definitely heating up. Look for more heavy news dealing with the buildup of World War III to come this summer. I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. As always, double honor to the apostles of the great millstone that rule well. And as always, peace and blessings to the elect. Shalom.